benefit from another Sun Tzu principle, the poor judgment of their enemy's leader. Sun Tzu says it is essential for victory that generals are unconstrained by their leaders. The Allied command structure gives total authority to General Eisenhower as supreme commander of all forces on the Western Front. Beneath him are 4 commanders, one for the Navy, Air Force, the U.S. Army Group, and the British Army Group. In the business world, this would be a very clean org chart with well-defined responsibilities.
The great advantage that Eisenhower had that he could work with all sorts of people, and there were a huge number of prima donnas, and on both sides, he was able to work with these people and get them to work for the common good.
One would expect a dictator like Hitler to have an even more efficient chain of command than the Allies, but it's just the opposite. Hitler sets up a confusing system of overlapping authority.
He wanted to make sure that no one person beneath him had all of the information and/or all of the control over forces at their disposal. And so by divvying it up, it always ensured that Hitler was the one that actually made the final decision on the disposition and the allocation of troops.
General von Rundstedt holds the title of Commander-in-Chief for forces in the West. But the Navy and Air Fleet each had separate command chains that aren't under his control and often don't cooperate with each other. The Waffen-SS, a separate military arm that fights alongside the German army, answers to Himmler, and Rundstedt has only indirect control of the mechanized divisions. 4 tank units are under his command, but the remaining 6 are split between Army Groups B and G. It's a complete mess.
Hitler's leadership style and the chaotic command structure in the German army render Hitler a very cooperative adversary for a Sun Tzu-type campaign. He is constantly interfering in the decisions of his subordinates, the generals who should be acting objectively and professionally in trying to defend France against the Allied invasion.
One of Hitler's greatest blunders is how he deployed his prized Panzer tank divisions. Some generals believe the panzers must be close to the beaches to knock the invading troops back into the sea. Others think the tanks should be held in reserve so they can be deployed in force wherever the Allies choose to land. Since none of the generals have the authority to make the call, the decision falls to Hitler.
And being Hitler, he made all the wrong decisions. He put one Panzer division in Holland and another Panzer division at the Bay of Biscay, both of which were entirely out of any range of a possible landing. And he put the rest of his Panzer divisions back some distance from the beaches.
Hitler's failure is a perfect example of why Sun Tzu says the enlightened general must be free to conduct war without interference from the leader.
When you look at the strategy for the German defense in France or in Normandy, it's very divided over how the defense should be arranged, what forces are actually available to defend the beaches, and what forces are actually available to reinforce the beaches or reinforce the German forces at the invasion point, because no one person has control of all of the forces as Eisenhower did on the Allied side.
The Allies achieve the impossible. Through bravery and determination, the troops are able to take all 5 landing sites at Normandy.
Despite all of the complex planning that went into the invasion of Normandy, it was the small unit tactics and the buddies fighting side by side that wins the Battle of the Beaches, and that's consistent throughout history.
Sun Tzu would have marveled at the timing and execution of the invasion. But soon, the Allies encounter a new and completely unexpected enemy.